Brilliant. Okay, we are recording. Fantastic. How is everyone feeling? Thanks for saying hi in the chat, Emma. Rosie and Seri, good morning. Lovely to see you. Amazing. Right, I'm just going to make sure we've got somebody who isn't muted. If you, who isn't muted? Let's just check. Nope, that seems to have gone now. Perfect. I've only got you muted for the background chat, so just so there's no noise when we're going through everything, but feel free to chat in the comments. I will always pick them up and make sure we're covering all your questions. Hey, Rebecca, morning. Valentina, thanks for saying hi. Okay. So we are recording as always. This will go into your members area. So if there's anything you want to catch up on, you will always be able to watch it back. So I'm excited for this one today, as always. So this is my 3-step method that I love, that I have shared at venues globally, and it works, okay? And it is brilliant because it's not sleazy, it's not manipulative, it's just a really enjoyable way of doing your meetings and your tours that simply convert better. Now, as I said on the emails, this method is aimed, it is designed, it was originally designed for show rounds, for tours, for venues. However, for those of you that I see who are not venues, there will still be lots that you can gain from this. So although this is going to be directed at how we use this method in a tour situation, you will definitely be able to use the same structure whenever you're having an in-person meeting with your client. So if that sounds good, we will get cracking. Let me share my screen. Share screen with you. Fab. And let's go here. All right. So we are tours and meetings that sell. So what we're going to cover is a 3-step method that I designed a couple of years ago now. And it's really a simple way of viewing your tour process in 3 clear steps, 3 clear sessions that actually make it much easier for you to deliver, make it easier for you to convert. And what I'm going to show you is that it's all about the experience. And so what I mean by that is, by the time people get to you in person, whether that's a meeting or whether it's a tour, it is no longer just about product. And this is where the confusion happens, and it's where the magic happens. And I love this because we think that when people come on site with us, then what we are showing them is the product, and we're basing everything on product. But actually, that is not true. Why isn't it true that it's all about the product? Why isn't it true? Tell me in the chat. Why is it not all about the product once they get on site with you? Because that's what we've been told, right? They're coming to see the product. It's all about showing them a great product, and your product is your venue, right? Why is it actually about the experience? Yes, Megan, absolutely. People buy people. Carol, people buy into you as much as the product, 100%. And this is what you're going to see is going to be a big percentage of what I'm going to share with you today on how you're actually going to create those feelings rather than placing all your effort on making sure they love the product, okay? By the time they get to you, and you will have seen in other modules that we've done, they've stalked you online, right? They kind of know what you do, what your price points are, if you're a barn or a castle or a field. And so when they come to you, what they're looking for is a feeling. They're looking for a reaction that says, oh, this is the one. Now, that could be, this is my supplier, just as much as it could be, this is my venue, right? They're looking for that gut reaction. And so what we're going to work on is emotional certainty. And you will have heard me say before that people buy on emotion and then they justify with logic. You will have heard me say that a million times. So what we're going to look at is how we create the emotion that drives the action. Okay, just give me a Y for yes if this is making sense so far. Jess, they already know the product exactly. Sean, hi, no worries, you're not late. We've only just kicked off. Don't worry at all. Fab. So, again, one of my favorite stats. I hope you all know this one by now, but we're just going to go through it one more time. How many venues are your couples visiting in person? So they're stalking you online and then they're physically walking in the door. And this is a pre-COVID stat, guys, a pre-COVID stat. So I really expect that when we look at these stats again in 6 months or a year, this will be even higher. No worries, Sue, we've only just started. Don't worry at all, my darling, literally just started. How many venues are your couples visiting in person? This is a pre-COVID stat. Again, or even for venue, even for those of you who are watching who are not venues, all of this is still relevant. You can cross all this information over to make it make sense for your business, but we are going to attack this particular session from a venue point of view. Your couples are stalking you online, and then they are only seeing 1 to 3 venues. The majority of our people, 26% of your couples are only seeing 1 venue in person. That's how much work they're doing beforehand, stalking you online. They're only walking the door. Now remember, a venue is 50% of the budget when you take into consideration hire and food and beverage. So this massive decision, half the wedding budget, they're only going in the door, 26, a quarter of the business, 1 venue. This tells me a huge amount about the psychology of our couples, how they're buying, what they're doing, what actions they are taking. 40%, the biggest percentage, will see 2 to 3. So streamlining their top 2 to 3, kind of shortlisting, and then walking in the door. So overall, we know that 66% of our couples will only see 3 venues or less. So what does this tell us about our conversion? What does this tell us about our conversion from tour, from show round? What does this tell us? Tell me in the comments. What should we ascertain from these numbers? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to get you working today. What are your thoughts? Just let me check. No one's still trying to come in. No, we're all good. We're all in. Yeah, Sean, absolutely. They already know what they want before they get there. 100%. They've done a lot of research. They already know. They're not tire kickers, Sue. They're not. And here's the thing. For those of us that have been in the business for a while, we have to get our heads around this shift. Because for sure, when I used to meet brides and grooms 20 years ago, a big percentage were tire kickers. They were almost having a day out coming to look at a venue, right? Now, if they come on site with you, they're not tire kickers, guys. They've done a lot of research at home. Now, of course, you'll always get the odd one. We're talking about the majority. But what we know is that if they get on site with you, really, then they're either only seeing you or 1 or 2 others. And so your conversion should already be pretty high. And so whenever I speak, especially to one-to-one clients, when I work with venues one-to-one, they will tell me things like, oh, if we get them on site, we convert them, we convert really well once we get them on site. And I think, well, yeah, you should. That's not because we're doing epic sales strategies. That's because your clients are only seeing 1 or 2 or 3 venues. Is this making sense? I just want us to be in the right place as we go through this, because what this means is that we should already be converting well once they meet with us, but actually what we want is to push that up as high as we possibly can. And by tweaking what we're doing, by changing some steps in the process, we're going to increase that conversion even more. Okay, guys. Where and when? So thinking of this, for those who just joined late, I'll just recap one quick thing. This session is aimed at venue tours, but the actual strategy does have a place for other businesses as well. So do feel free to think how you would adapt that to your business. Okay, so venues. Where and when do you sit with your couples? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Where and when? So at what point during the tour do you sit with your couples, and where are you sitting with your couples? I'm just going to give you a minute whilst you type in the chat box. Tell me where and when. Okay, so Sue is sitting with them after the show round and in the bar. Perfect. Anybody else? Anybody else? I can see we've got lots of our venues with us. Come on, guys. Emma is sitting in the reception area. Okay. Anyone else? Are you, or maybe you're not sitting at all? Feel free to tell me. Jess sits in the ceremony area. And when do you sit with them, Jess? At the beginning, in the middle, or at the end? Let me know. Start and end. Okay, perfect. Right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. This is the 3-step method. Step 1, sit and love. Step 2, walk and talk. Step 3, sit and sell. Does anybody want to take a guess at which step, without having delved into it just yet, which step is going to have the biggest impact on your conversion? Is it 1, sit and love, 2, walk and talk, or 3, sit and sell? Let me just catch up. Rebecca, we have a table reserved for them in the bar. They arrive. Perfect. Jess is saying 1, Sean saying 2, Sue saying 2, Rosie and Sari saying 1, Megan saying 1. Okay, interesting. This is the step of an in-person meeting, a venue tour that will have the biggest impact on your conversion. And here's the thing, people always say to me, what should I say at the end so I can close it? What's the magic secret sauce to say to a couple at the end of a venue tour to actually get them to book? And the interesting thing is, that isn't the part that has the biggest impact. The part that has the biggest impact, and this is the same, guys, even if you're meeting people, in a meeting and not doing a venue tour, it's the first part of the meeting that will make the difference. It's the sit and love. So let's delve into these, and I'm going to spend the most time on sit and love because that's the one that's going to give you the biggest results. So step 1, sit and love. Your goal here is to build rapport with your couple. We need to start creating a connection, because remember that what we're working on is emotional certainty. If what we do is that they walk in and we just start showing them the product, we just start walking them through or showing them what we sell, you are effectively cold selling because you haven't warmed your people up. And so the goal of sit and love, step 1, is to build rapport, break down barriers. We know that couples often meet with us and they have their barriers up, they're panicking, they don't know what they're going to spend, they don't know what they're supposed to ask, and how well they hide that is a different matter, but they have those barriers. We need to make your couple feel VIP, and ultimately, sit and love is about warming them up before you start selling. The warmer they are before you start selling, and it doesn't matter what your product, whether you're sitting down to show them or that you will be showing them decor or stationery, or whether you're doing a venue tour, the warmer you can get your people before you show them a product, the higher your chances of conversion. Now, don't worry, I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. We're going to go into this in finite detail. But just give me a Y for yes in the comments if this is making sense so far. And actually, how much more enjoyable is it just to simply warm your couples up and understand that that is going to have the biggest impact on conversion, not some sleazy sales techniques. How much more fun is that? Great, everyone's saying yes, perfect. So let's look at where you might sit with them. And really, if you're a venue, you're going to have 2 clear options, okay? So I'm going to give you an option that works, ticks the box, and I'm going to give you an aspirational option, something that you might have in the plans for the future or for next year or for whenever you can do it. So the first option of where you would sit, the basic option, let's say it ticks the box, is simply anywhere that you are able to put a reserve sign on a table. So that could be in the lobby, it could be in the bar, it could be in the restaurant, wherever makes sense for you. This is a basic option, it ticks our box. What we want is that we have set aside a space, we have pre-planned that space. We didn't just let our couple walk in and randomly start thinking, oh, okay, let me try and find a place to sit. We're showing that there was a plan here. And as soon as they walk in, we take them to a spot that was reserved. Your aspirational option is to create a space, an actual wedding planning office or event studio. Now, what this does, and when we've put this in at venues previously, it has an enormous impact. What would you feel if, as a client, you walked into a venue and they had a space, an office, a seating area that was especially for talking to event people or wedding couples? Just have a little think about how that might make you feel and tell me in the comments. That's why I'm giving you 2 options, because I get this isn't the kind of thing you can deliver tomorrow, but finding a space to sit with a reserve sign definitely is. So that's why we have these 2 options. Just tell me in the comments, how would you feel if you walked in and there was a space, a wedding planning office where you sat to talk to your planner? Sue says valued, Emma says VIP. Exactly, right? You have to see the subconscious message that this gives. It's not about just having a pretty space. It's the underlying message of how important weddings and events, because you can do this as an event studio or an event planning office if your business covers everything. And it really sends a huge message to your couple about how valued they are, how VIP they are. And what we do is we have it look like a planning office. We don't have it look all cheesy with a huge amount of wedding stuff. It feels a little bit more like this is where we sit and plan weddings. Okay, so we've got our basic option, and that definitely ticks the box. Okay, so don't panic if you're thinking, oh God, I can't do this tomorrow. Remember the first option, as long as there is a space that is reserved for your couple. Okay, so we've got our space. Pause on that for a minute. When you look at this picture, what emotions does this picture evoke? Give me some comments in the chat box. What emotions does this evoke for you? Yes, celebration. Yeah, I love that word. Absolutely. Emma, celebrating. Yeah. Any other feelings? Any other feelings? Emma feels happy. I love it. Demetria, joy. Sue, love. Emma, love. Demetria, excitement. Isn't it interesting, guys? Isn't it interesting that this one beverage, bubbles, cava, prosecco, champagne, whatever you want to say or use, bubbles, has such a strong marketing message, right? This is genius marketing. That bubbles have come to signify joy, celebration, love, happiness. There is an incredibly strong marketing message that goes along with this drink. If someone had just died and I said to you, let's say I'm in your venue, someone's just died, fallen down in front of me, and I turn to you and I say, oh my God, can you get me a glass of champagne? Just sounds so wrong, doesn't it? But I know, even when I say it, it makes my skin crawl a bit. But look how strong the marketing message is. That's what I want you to understand. The message that comes with this drink is so strong that it actually causes us to react when I say that I would ask for it if someone had died, because we know it shouldn't be associated with anything negative. Now, imagine that same situation and someone had just died and I turned to you as the venue and said, oh my God, can you get me a glass of whiskey? You would say, yes, absolutely. Good God, I'm not surprised you need a glass of whiskey. Do you see? Look at the power this beverage has. It is epic, and it is all about marketing. And so when we do a sit-down meeting at the beginning of a venue tour or in-person meeting, we should look at having a preset ice bucket, bottle, and glasses. Now, why? Yeah, I was saying negative situations need something stronger. They do, but it's the message, right? It's this underlying marketing message. Now, let's picture your couple. They've just walked in the door. They haven't seen the product yet, right? We've got our reserved table or we've got our wedding planning corner. Why have I not just said, ask them if they want a glass of bubbles and order it from the bar? Why am I saying to you, have on that reserved table, remember we've got our reserved table now. Why am I saying preset the ice bucket, bottle, and glasses? What is the difference with just asking them if they want a glass of bubbles from the bar? Carol, VIP experience. Demetria adds to the experience. Emma, planning makes them feel welcome. Yes. Imagine when they walk over to the table and they can already see the bucket, the bottle, and the glasses. Imagine that reaction right away. Yeah, absolutely. So Sean, who is a planner, as most of you know, I've never been offered bubbles. You've never been into one of my venues, Sean. From a venue to the couple, it's always coffee and water at the most. And this is why I'm giving you a whole different perspective. 20 years ago, I get it. We had too many tire kickers to do this, but we don't now, right? We don't have that many tire kickers now. And so this is now worth the effort to push up that level of conversion. Okay, so we preset the bucket, bottle, and glasses. It gives that impression as they walk to the table. Wow, goodness gracious, amazing. What's the other thing? Because actually, if I said to you, let's say you come for a venue tour with me, 10 a.m., and I say to you, can I get you a glass of bubbles from the bar? What's the likely response going to be? 10 a.m. Would you like a glass of bubbles? Too early. No thanks. Yeah. So here's the thing. I want you to do this even at 10 o'clock in the morning, because this isn't about getting people drunk. This isn't about the alcoholic beverage. I love it. Sean's up for it. Sean's like, give me the shams. It's about the experience and the marketing message, all right? And you know, for me, it's all about the psychology. Sounds amazing. Emma, only person that is driving. Yes, but still, right? For most of us, we would be happy to have a teeny tiny little drop in a glass. Yeah, perfect. So when we've got the bucket there, what you do is I'm going to demonstrate. You pick up the bottle, you pick up the champagne flute, and you literally, oh, can I get you a little drop? Right? And at that point, you're literally pouring 10 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Majority, not everyone, majority of people will say, oh, go on then, just a little bit. Because it's about the marketing message. It's about the experience. It's about the fact they realize this is a different scenario. Now, I get it. Some people will have literally the teeniest, tiniest amount. That's okay. You still get the impact. All right. Now, yes, you would want a plan B, have sparkling water available, to the side in case you have somebody who has religious reasons they don't drink. Maybe they're, whatever. Health could be a million things. Definitely have that to the side, but don't offer it unless people say, oh, I really don't drink. Oh, no worries. Here's a sparkling water, but pour it in the flute. Okay, so that we're continuing with this experience. What's going to happen is this, right? They're going to turn to each other. They're going to have their glasses. Forget you. They're going to go, cheers. They're going to have this little moment, guys. Can you start to feel it? We haven't shown them the product, all right? We haven't shown them anything to do with the product yet. What we are stacking is emotional certainty, is feeling, okay? So they're going to cheers one another. They now feel the barriers are starting to melt. This is a celebration. This is fun. This is exciting. This isn't the kind of business meeting they thought they were coming to, where they were going to have to negotiate for how many canapes they're going to get. Now this suddenly feels fun. Okay, so we've got our glass. We're excited. It's feeling much better now. What else might be offered with the bubbles? What else might we offer? What might be on the table? Perfect. Exactly, guys. Any sort of nibbles. Now, depending on your business, depending on what you do, there's various ways you can handle this, okay? So yes, I really encourage you to put a little bit of nibbles out on the table as well. I would love to see something a little bit more than nuts, Megan, just so it feels a little bit more special. So for example, if you do not have a kitchen at your venue, and not everybody does, right? Sometimes it's a barn in the middle of a field and we bring everything in, or maybe, you're a stationer and actually you're meeting people at your office, you don't have a kitchen there. You could do something like little macaroons like here, anything like little cold canapes that just be kept in the fridge and can be popped out. Oh, what's suki? What's that, Megan? I don't know what that is. Oh, do you mean sushi? Have I got confused there? But anyway, anything you can have as a little nibble. This is not a buffet. You're not giving them lunch, okay? So in case you think, goodness gracious, this is a lot of stuff. No. Like 3 macaroons on a plate. And it just gives that nice feeling of, oh, a little nibble and a little drink. And we almost start to feel like we're at an event, right? We're moving towards that feeling of actually being and having an experience. Okay, let me just pause there before we move on. We're still in Sit and Love, remember? We're still in the first section, but don't worry, this is where we spend the most time. Let me pause here before I just move on to the next part of Sit and Love. Any questions, hesitations, anything you think might be a massive block for you at the moment that I can help you with before I move you on to the next part of Sit and Love? And also tell me how this feels. Can you feel what's beginning to happen with your couple before you start any kind of sales journey with them? Sean, I know a couple loved a venue but didn't book it because of the way they were treated. Totally getting this, 100%. And I think we get very hung up, especially venues. We get very hung up on the fact that it's our product that's the problem. We say, well, we don't have enough money to change the carpet. We don't have the investment to repaint the walls. And I get it. A new carpet and fresh paint definitely helps. But actually, there's a lot we can do with how people feel. And we know that couples will not book a venue they love because they don't feel it. and they'll book a venue that wasn't perfect because they felt it. So what we're creating is feelings. If we're a supplier, could we still do this at the venue? Or are we doing the venue's job? I wouldn't do it for the venue at their show round. That would be doing their job for them. I would do it for your own service. So when people come to meet you to look at your, let's say, I don't know where you meet them. I want to say warehouse, but that doesn't sound as lovely as what I mean it to. Showroom, that's what I'm after. When they come to meet you at the showroom, you can do exactly this, right? You can give them that glass of bubbles, a little macaroon. You can do this when they come to see you at the showroom, to look at your stock, to look at your linens and your plinths and your lanterns. Okay, you meet at the venue. Okay, you can do it. If the venue's not going to do it, no, backtrack. If they've already booked the venue, right, and now you're meeting at the venue to talk about the decor, yeah, then go for it. Because they've already booked the venue, that you're not doing it on behalf of the venue for the show round. So then, yes, I would do it once they've booked and you're now talking about your decor and how you're going to do that for them. Perfect. Okay. So they've been here 5 seconds, right? But look the impact that first 5 seconds had. We've got a table that's reserved. We've got a bucket with a bottle and glasses. And remember, you can get the stoppers for the bottle, right? You don't have to be giving them a whole bottle. And also, by the way, guys, like, you can buy Prosecco in at £4 a bottle. And if you know that 66% of your couples are only seeing 3 venues or less, that £4 is worth it. Sean, I've had to, when the venue says we don't have time for you. Oh my God. So then that's down to me. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some horror stories, and I hear you. Okay, so they've sat down, they've had a drink, they've had a nibble. Here's the next part of this. We're in the first few seconds still. Pause on that for a minute. Who remembers the Share a Coke campaign? Do you know what the Share a Coke, it was called, the campaign was called Share a Coke. Do you remember what that was? And if you do, tell me in the chat. Yes, absolutely, Rosie. Names on bottles. Who had a can of Coke, a bottle of Coke with their name on the bottle? Just give me a Y for yes in the chat if you had a bottle of Coke with your name on the bottle. Emma definitely did. So when I was at Rosewood London, many of you know my title was Director of Romance. Yeah, I know. And my team got me a bottle of Coke that had the word romance on it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. Only Emma is saying that she had a bottle of Coke with her name on it. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. Tell me in the chat if you had a bottle of Coke with your name on it. Okay, let me explain to you what the Share a Coke campaign was and how you're going to use it in your business. Sue, I've been deprived. Oh God, Sue, we're going to send you Coke with your name on it. Okay, so the Share a Coke campaign was actually, how many years ago now? My goodness, maybe 7? Something like that, about 7 years ago. Here's what happened. Coca-Cola, one of the best, and I say best in terms of a sales and marketing point of view, okay? I'm not arguing whether or not Coke is a good product. Sales and marketing is what I'm talking about. Coke sales were down, right? We were not buying Coca-Cola. Sales were down. What they then did was create this campaign called the Share a Coke campaign, whereby they put our names on the Coke bottles, right? So across different countries, they worked out, the most popular names in all of those countries. They put our names on and they put it in the fridges. And here's what they did. They put the price up, right? So we've got a product that is not selling well. They put our names on the bottles and then they put the price up. Risky move, right? When your sales are down. What do you think happened to the sales of Coke? All they did was put our name on a bottle and put the price up. This was a flagging product, right? We were not buying Coke in the numbers that we used to. Put our name on it and they put the price up. Exactly. Yes, Valley. The sales went through the roof, right? They went nuts. Absolutely crazy. And what is the bonus? What happened when I've even got a water bottle, as most of you know, with my name on it. What did most of us do? What did I do with that bottle of Coke that my team got me that said romance on it? What do you think I did with that? Yeah, Exactly, Demetria. I shared it on social media. I did the PR for them. I mean, before that moment, would I have taken a picture of a can of fizz and put it on Facebook and said, I'm drinking Coke today? Like, no. I still don't really drink very much Coke. But that day I was like, oh, yay, my team got me a bottle with my title name on it. I took a picture of it, I put it on Facebook, and we all did it. Or many of us. We bought bottles for ourselves and for our friends. The sales went up. We took pictures and put it all over social media. It was utter genius, okay? This is still now, if you go into a marketing agency and ask them what was the best campaign globally to date, they will say this is one of them. The Share a Coke campaign smashed statistics. Right. What does this mean for us? Why am I sharing this random story with you? What does this mean for us? What can we do in our business that we can use this knowledge to actually help us? What can we do? What are some of the things we can do? Because we know this works. We know that this worked on a global scale, off the charts. So what can we actually do to help us? And why am I sharing this with you? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. Sue says personalize their visit. Jess says personalize. So here's the thing. Whenever I have previously spoken to venues about this, the go-to is always to get the chef to do something personalized. And having worked 16 years on property, I know that that's a pretty hard ask, right? Because actually, you might have somebody book a few hours in advance, you know, not give you much warning. The teams in the kitchen are already under pressure to deliver. And so for us to then say, oh, and also can I have 5 dishes with people's names on, is actually putting a lot of pressure on another team that we're not in control of. And so I'd love to give you a couple of different ideas, actually. People love seeing their own name. And there are 2 really easy ways for you guys to do this and for you to be in control of it. One of the ways you can do it is with a light box, right? These are like £15 from Amazon. You guys know I have one, don't know where mine is at the moment. I sometimes have it behind me. And you can just simply put your couple's names on that light box and have it on the table. Now, if your venue doesn't really suit a light box, maybe you're a little bit more of an old school venue or a barn and you just think, oh, a light box isn't really our thing, then think about just buying a really nice frame that suits your business brand. Again, 10, 15 pounds. And then what you can do is print off the names of your couple to have in the frame. And remember, this is going to sit on the table next to their glass of bubbles. Sean's saying £6.99 on eBay. I bought one after you mentioned this. Perfect. So what we're doing here is showing them that this setup, these little macaroons, this glass of bubbles, this table I've reserved, this is for them. I've done this for them. And the beauty of the frame is that if you have, as January comes and venues will be doing back-to-back show rounds, what you can do is print all the names off in the morning and then have them behind each other and just whip them out as you go through the day so that you can actually get through this nice and quickly, and it's not going to take you a huge amount of extra time. So imagine now your couple walk in, you welcome them. 5 seconds later, they're seeing a reserved table, a glass of bubbles, 3 macaroons, a sign congratulating them with their personalised names on. How are they going to feel within the first minute of arriving at this meeting, at this venue? Yes, Emma, they 100% do. So Emma's just said people will want a pic of it as well and post it on social. And this absolutely happens. So wherever I teach this to venues, and they always message me like a week later and say, oh my God, people are posting it on Instagram. And yes, exactly. They will feel totally loved. You're absolutely right. The impact within that first minute is huge. Now, why are we doing this? All of this? It isn't just for the picture on Insta, right? This is part of the strategy. What will this mean for the rest of your meeting and the rest of your tour? I really want you to get inside the psychology of what's going on. What is likely to be your couple's reaction at this point about you, your business? Just give me some thoughts. I really want us to get inside the psychology, because sometimes we can think, well, that's nice, but I don't have time for that. But it's really, really important we understand the psychology. Sean is saying they will feel secure and safe to have their wedding at your venue. Yeah, there's a big feeling of safety at this level of effort, isn't there? They're thinking, wow, if they did that for our meeting, imagine what, how they're going to take care of us for our actual wedding. So warm and friendly. Yeah, remember, a lot of your couples will come a little bit prickly, won't they? You know the ones I mean. They're coming thinking, right, I'm going to get the best deal I can, you know, and they're kind of coming at it a little bit, not aggressively, but with barriers up. And this is just going to melt that and give them that warm and friendly. Emma says, wow factor. Laura, attention to detail and care. Exactly. So although you might think, wow, this is a lot of effort, this is going to impact how they feel about the rest of the meeting. Ultimately, this is what's going to be going on. Bottom line, before they see your product, they are now going to think, I hope we like this venue, right? They're actually now having a reverse. When they arrived, they were almost ready to spot the problems. They were ready to find a reason why this isn't their venue, because it's human nature. We're trying to find the flaws. It's not a bad thing. It's just due diligence. Now you have switched them. Now they're thinking inside their heads, oh, I really hope we like this venue. I really hope this is the one for us. But what they don't realize is that this has created that feeling that they will feel this is the one for us. We already know they like your product, otherwise they wouldn't be with you, right? What we've done now is create the emotion. Okay, just give me a Y for yes if this is making sense, because this is the absolute kind of most important part of converting in-person meetings and show rounds before we move on to the rest. Okay, good. People feeling good. Fabulous. So just to recap step one, we are reserving a table or a VIP space. We've got fizz and nibbles, however we can manage to do that. And we've got that personalized item. It's that combination of those three things that gives us the result that we actually want, which is to lower the barriers of our couple, to build rapport, and to help them feel VIP. Now, this part is probably only going to last 5 to 10 minutes max, okay? Because the emotion happens almost instantly. What's going to happen while they're having a little sip on their fizz and eating their macaroon? What are you going to be doing as the salesperson, as the seller, as the supplier or venue? What are you going to be doing whilst they are having a little sip on their fizz? Just tell me in the comments. How are we doing on time? We're doing fine. Yes, Sue, absolutely. Fact finding, perfect. So you may have had a big conversation on the phone, and so it might be recapping what you already know about them from your notes from the phone, or if they are a new booking and you've never spoken to them, then you'll be finding out what they want. Carol, exactly. Trying to find out what's important to them. Valley, asking more about them, exactly. You know this bit, right? This bit you have ticked, you know this stuff. So what this gives you is that breathing space to do it, because normally what happens is a couple walk in, we say hello, how was your journey? And then we start selling. Okay, this is your ceremony space. 50 people sit here. This is where the bride comes in. We literally start selling within a moment of them walking in. This way, you just created space to actually speak to them. Find out what's important. Find out what they care about. You know how to do that part. And whilst you're asking those questions, you're building more and more rapport. So this is just like absolute perfection. Okay, let's move on. So we've done our sit and love. It lasted 5 to 10 minutes. Whenever you feel is a natural pause in the proceedings, right? So you've asked a few questions. It's all very comfortable. You will know naturally when it is time to move on. Here's the best thing about offering them fizz and not coffee. If this was a flute, I can walk around with this, right? If it's coffee, I don't want to walk around with coffee. I might spill it. It's hot. It's awkward. So the beauty of having a glass of bubbles is that whenever you feel the conversation has come to a natural end after 5 or 10 minutes, you can say, great, guys, pick up your glasses. Let's go. And actually them walking around with their flute feels very luxurious, doesn't it? As they're walking around, right? So we're continuing that emotional certainty. And it's one of the reasons that I literally ban my venues from offering tea or coffee on arrival, because I can't walk around with it takes too long to make, it's too hot, I've got to wait for them to finish, and my whole sales situation is ruined. Okay, so we've sit and love, we've done that part, we're now going to move on to walk and talk. 2 and 3 are much quicker, right? You can see where the conversion happens in section 1. So now I'm just going to give you a few key pointers on 2 and 3. When we walk around showing people, now this might be walking through a venue, this might be walking people through your products, walking them through, talking them through. we find that we actually get stuck in an accidental routine. Who kind of says the same thing every time they meet a client? There's that little patter you have about kind of what you do or how you help people, or there's this almost organic script that begins to create in our heads because we say the same similar things on most days. And so what I really encourage you to do, again, looking at this more from a venue side, when you are thinking about your venue, people connect emotionally to history and stories. Now, I'm not talking about giving people a massive history lesson, but bringing in a few stories that they can just hold on to will make your venue more interesting, more accessible, and it will connect them to the bricks rather than them just seeing a cold venue. They will actually understand a little bit more if you share with them some stories. For all of you, know what you do better than your competitors. Now, you will know that I absolutely advocate us community over competition. We're not going to put anyone down. We are not going to say anything negative about our competitors. That is definitely not the way forward. However, you do need to know what you do better and you need to highlight that. So, for example, if I was a venue and I had a car park, something as boring as a car park, but I know that my 3 competitors down the road don't have car parks, that's annoying. So what I would say is, when I'm explaining the venue and we're walking through, we're so lucky here that we do have car parks, because I know not every venue does. And so it's so helpful for your guests that there actually is parking. I don't need to say Bob's venue down the road doesn't have it, but I can say, I know that not everyone does, and we're so lucky because it's so much more convenient for guests. So just know a few things that you do better than your competitors and simply highlight that. Think about the route, think about the way you talk people through your product. Think about, have you fallen into an accidental routine, or have you constructed it? The way you walk them through your product or venue, is it accidental? Have you ever actually sat down and thought, is this the best way to walk them around? Is there a better way? Might be that it's absolutely fine what you're doing, but just take a minute to ask yourself the question. And what I really encourage you to do, again, especially for venues, is without your clients, before you see your clients, like before January, take a notebook, take a pen, walk your route, walk your tour, and make little notes of key things you want to talk about. Make little notes of key stories, history, things you can share that are interesting, engaging, and emotional, not just factual. Okay, so this room holds 50 people seated this way, blah, blah, blah. That's all factual, we need it. But what emotional stuff can we draw in? And by simply writing it down, it will stick more in your head, because you're not going to read it, right? Obviously, when your clients are in front of you. But just simply taking those notes by yourself will really help you to reassess what you're doing on your walk and talk. Okay, think also about where you need to pause, ask a question, or check in. And again, this is whether you're sitting in front of a couple as a wedding planner, having that first meeting before they book you, whether you are in decor, whether you are a venue. Where in the system, where in the process do you need to pause, ask a question, or check in? And why is it important? Tell me in the comments, why is it important for you to pause or check in? Tell me in the comments, why is it important for you to pause or check in with your people? So imagine, so if this is a venue tour, we've already sat down for 10 minutes, we've had our bubbles, we've had our chat, I've asked you a few questions, and now I'm walking you through this space. And I'm showing you the ceremony area and the dinner area and the terrace for drinks, and I'm going through everything. Why do I need to think about strategic pauses in that walk around? Demetria, for them to ask questions. Yeah, but we want to do it in a way that we're in charge, right? So that we maximize the sales process. So we need to pause to give it, yes, Carolyn, definitely. So they're not overwhelmed. And so if we were just to walk around and start throwing information at them consistently, by the time we get to the end of the walk round, they definitely could feel overwhelmed. Yes, Sue, to see if they're taking it in and they're interested. Yes, 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 that you're getting the info, and yes, perfect. All of those 3 things you just said. So what we do is we strategically place our pauses and our questions to not overwhelm them. And the natural pauses are going to be after you show ceremony areas, after you show reception areas, and after you show dinner areas. And again, look at the same in your business if you're doing something different to a venue. What are the natural pauses? And then what I want you to do is actually ask them a closed question. And that's probably not what you expected me to say, because everybody will always tell you, oh, ask open questions, find out how they feel, not during the walk and talk. Because walk and talk, I really want you to be doing the most talking, right? I want them to be absorbing, looking at the product, seeing what's going on. So what we do with the yes or no is simply say something like, is this making sense so far? Does this feel good so far? Something that simply gets a yes or a no, and find a phrase that you're happy with, of course. The reason we do a yes or no is because either they say yes and you're like, yay, okay, we carry on. Every time they say yes is a micro commitment to you psychologically. So you do want them saying yes. Then when they say yes, you can feel comfortable to keep moving on. If anything you just said didn't make sense, they will say, no, sorry, I didn't quite understand. So where do I walk in the room? So where would my mum stand? She's going to ask the question. You can then deal with that question at the time. So when you move on to the next section, they're not worried about the last section. Okay. So plan your pauses. Also, guys, you might need a rest. What I mean by this is at one venue that I worked at, goodness me, 10 years ago now, we had a huge marble staircase, enormous. I couldn't walk up that staircase talking and still have my breath at the top, right? Now, at the top of the staircase was the most epic view that I really needed to be able to explain and talk, because it was pretty much the moment where they said, right, give me a contract, it's epic. And so if I got to the top of the stairs and I couldn't breathe, one of my best moments to sell, I was like, right? So think about whether you need to catch your breath. So what I used to do is at the bottom of the marble staircase, huge it was, I would ask them a question. Something like, sorry, tell me about how you got engaged or where the proposal was, because I knew that was going to take them a good minute or two to tell me. When we got to the top of the stairs, they were out of breath, I wasn't, and I could carry on selling. So really be strategic about what you need to do. Yeah, Sue's laughing at me. Yeah, definitely. Imagine that was 10 years ago. I probably wouldn't be able to walk up the stairs now. Perfect. Okay, so sit and love is the most important one. Walk and talk. Think about what you're saying. Think about the route you're taking. Think about connecting emotionally. Check in with them. Get them saying yes. Let them know. And Rebecca can relate with your spiral staircase. Exactly, Rebecca. So you definitely need to ask a question at the bottom. So now after we've walked, we're going to sit down again, because now we're going to come to the actual selling part, because we really shouldn't have been selling specifically until this point. So once again, think about the location. It's an emotional decision. They might need privacy if they're going to talk to you about money. And this is where you now start talking about packages and pricing. This is the point at which you talk about packages and pricing. Again, for you guys in other businesses, aside from venues, use the same structure. Connect first, explain the product, and then go in for packages and pricing. So a few key tips for the actual sit and sell. Really consider making it easy for them. And I know this seems like an obvious thing, but you'll be so surprised how we often ask people to jump through hoops without even meaning to. Here are some phrases that you might want to use as you come toward the end of your process, your conversation, as we're coming toward the close. But I don't like to use it that way, because we've done all the hard work on the front end, which means we don't have to do too much work at the end. A phrase like which one fits you best, for those of you that have done the easy to buy method, that have your 3 streamlined offers, this is a great question to use. So as you've explained your 3 options, saying then which one fits you best is a really nice way of understanding if one of these options is fitting them. Because right now they can say, well, none of them at the moment, in which case you can instantly start offering other things. Or they're going to say, oh, actually the middle one feels quite nice, but we just wanted to add in X, Y, and Z. So now you start having a conversation about the actual product that they like, but it's a gentle lead in. Which one fits you best? It's non-committal from their side. You're just asking which one fits. You're not saying which one do you want to book yet. Let them know how easy it is to work with you. We've discussed at length, haven't we, about how our caveman brains want ease. We want you to make it easy for us, not too many steps, not too much to do. So phrases such as, once you say yes, it's really easy, and then explaining to them what happens next. Explain the steps in a simple way. Try not to add in steps. Okay, so I'm going to email you a contract. You need to print it off, sign it, scan it, send it back. Try to make that feel really, really easy. If you can do things like people signing contracts online, there's lots of systems now where people can literally sign online. They don't have to print and scan. Make those steps feel really easy. All you need to do, sign the online document, pay the deposit, and we're good to go. We start planning. Make it feel really easy. Phrases such as "we handle everything," lowering their stress levels, lowering that responsibility from them. And something called future pacing, when you start showing them how life looks after they book with you. And phrases such as, then you can start doing all the fun stuff, like trying on dresses, tasting cake, choosing your flowers. Let them know that there's more fun stuff to come after they have made this decision to work with you. Because no one wants the boring booking part, right? We all want the fun part. We all want to taste cake and try dresses on and choose flowers and do all that fun stuff. And venues, guys, choosing a venue isn't that much fun for most of our couples. They find it very stressful. It's a big part of the budget. It's a big decision early on. So they don't usually find the venue booking all that fun. So it is nice for them to know that once this big decision is made, they can start doing stuff that's way more fun. And then you go for those yes or no questions again at the end by simply saying something like, does that all sound good? And then wait for their response. Wait for them to say, yeah, it does sound good actually. And they'll kind of look at each other. Yeah, it does sound good, right? You want these kind of micro commitments all the way through your conversation. Okay, so now we get right to the end of our conversation. And here's just a few things you can think about as you go for the final conversation, the final close of this meeting or this tour. If you are adding value, please give a time limit. So what I mean by that is if you are negotiating, and that's, absolutely perfect. If you are adding in something, you're adding in extra note cards, you're adding in a different style of chair, you're adding extra canapes, please add a time limit. It's not a negotiation if you're the only one giving, okay? So if you add in those 4 extra canapes at no extra charge, then the final, the end of that sentence is, but I would need the contract back by Friday. No, absolutely, I can give you those 4 canapes included, no extra charge, with pleasure, but I would need the contract back by Friday. That is a negotiation. When we just say, oh sure, I'll throw those 4 canapes in for you, and then you leave them to go look at 2 other venues, that's not a negotiation. Just give me a Y for yes if that makes sense. Because I see loads of us in the wedding industry, and again, this is us wanting to serve our couples, we'll throw these freebies in, don't we? Tell me if you do this. We throw the freebies in because we want the booking and we want to love our couples, and then we forget to actually put our side of the negotiation in, and your side is the time limit. I can give you those 4 canapes, I can give you those upgraded chairs, but I would need the deposit by Friday to secure that. Okay, put that little level of time limit on. Use scarcity for your availability, and we do this in a really smart way. We're not going to be arrogant about this. We're not going to be, oh yes, well, we're just so busy, we can't really squeeze you in, there's only one Saturday left anyway, right? We're going to do this in a really nice way, and it can be simply giving knowledge to your couple. It can be the knowledge that you say to them, I know you really want a Saturday in June, and I've actually only got one left, so I just want to make sure you know, because I know how important it is to you to have a Saturday in June, and that's the only one I've got left. You need to let them know that they don't have, an absolute endless diary to choose from. Sean had one venue that said 4,000 if we book by, or it'll be 5K after that day. It was a big Karen, and we jumped at it. Exactly, Sean. It's the urgency that creates. Now imagine, Sean, if that venue had said 4K, but go off and look at other venues, you'd have gone off with your couple and looked at other venues. It's that negotiation style that works beautifully. And obviously we do it nicely. We're not being mean about it. We're just letting them know, well, this is what I'm giving you and this is what you give me back. Perfect. Okay, so use our scarcity. Don't let them feel that your diary is wide open. Most of us for 21, we're not, because we've had so many movements, and most of your brides will already know that for next year in 22. So that is something that you can genuinely share, that actually there are less dates available. You know, there are less chairs available, there are less availability at the venue. So you can let them know that in the nicest way. Reconfirm, really, we're so close to the end now. This is really as you're closing the conversation. Confirm. Sue, we don't share our dates, we narrow selection. Perfect, Sue. Exactly what I'm saying, 100%. You'd never share your entire calendar. You would just give them 3 or 4 dates that suit their needs to choose from. Okay, so as we come close to the end of the conversation, confirm you have everything they need. And this might feel, don't know what the word is, patronizing maybe. This might feel a bit weird to do this, but really think about reiterating back everything they said they wanted, everything that suits their wedding, and the fact that you have it all, right? So you're literally saying, okay, great. So you said you were looking for an outdoor ceremony. Yay, we have that. The gazebo there by the lake, perfect for you. You mentioned you would love to have drinks on the terrace. Obviously, the terrace is perfect for your 75 guests. And then we've got the grand hall that's going to fit your 150 guests, including the extras that come in the evening. And we've got the 6 bedrooms that you need for the family. So brilliant. I think we've covered everything that you were really looking for. Really spoon feed it back to them that what they said they wanted and needed, you have ticked. And then, and this is the one that freaks most of us out in the wedding industry, is I want you to actually ask for the booking. Now, here's what I see is so often in the wedding industry is that we just want to serve and love our couples so much that at the end we're like, okay, so I've given you everything now, just let me know if you want to book, bye. And we push them back out the door because we're too scared to really do that final question of actually asking for the booking. But when you say that you have everything that they need, you can literally say, would you be ready to go ahead and reserve that date? Would you be ready to go ahead and put a deposit down on that date? Would you be ready to go ahead and put a deposit down on that package if you're not a venue? And then shut up. And I mean this with all the love in my heart. And this is from someone who can't shut up very easily. We do need to ask for the booking and then be quiet. Don't talk yourself out of the booking. Don't talk yourself backwards because it feels uncomfortable. Say, would you be ready to go ahead and put a deposit down on that date? And then be quiet and let them respond. Okay, it might take them a few seconds. They're processing. They might look at each other. How do you feel? Okay, let them respond. Now, it's going to go one of 2 ways. That's the only thing that's going to happen. Emma, the first person who speaks will be the deal or no deal. I love that. We're getting hardcore with this. So there's 2 things, one of 2 things, right? You ask for the booking and you shut up. One, that they say, great, yeah, we're ready. Okay, fantastic. Send us the contract, we'll pay the deposit. That's a chance, right? That's going to happen. The other chance, which is what you're afraid of, and tell me in the comments if you're afraid of this, is that they're going to panic and say, oh no, we're not ready. Oh no, that's all gone a bit too fast. No, we're not ready to put a deposit down. We've got 3 other venues to look at. And now it becomes uncomfortable. And that's why we don't ask for the booking, is because we're fearful that they will panic and feel that we've pushed them too far. Tell me if you're fearful of that, because I'm going to give you a get out of jail free card. Yeah, absolutely. And I get it. Lots of us, especially in our industry, because we're all about serving and loving our couples. I hear you. Here is, drum roll, here is your get out of jail free card. If they do not say yes and book, right? If they do not go the way you want them to go, but by the way, can we just recap on where we've been? You've loved them. They've had a glass of bubbles. They've had a macaroon. They've had a thing with their name on it. They've had a brilliant walkthrough. Their emotions are high. They're feeling good. These are warm buyers. You have not cold sold to these people. You've built rapport. They love you. They want this to be their venue or planner or stylist. When you ask this question now, you're in a very different position than you were if you did this same meeting yesterday without the sit and love, okay? So the likelihood of them being ready to say yes is now much higher. But we definitely have a chance that they aren't ready, that they do need 24 hours to think about it. And so here is what you're going to say. You've asked for the booking, you've shut up. They've had a little panic and said, we're not ready. And you're going to say this, or a version of this. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got really excited, got a bit ahead of myself. I was kind of there. I was planning your wedding already. What would you like to do next? Okay. This is a neutralizer. Now, feel free to arrange the words and phrases in a way that suits your personality. But can you see how this will neutralize the situation? They will not now think you're being pushy. They won't feel panicked or bad. This actually has a really positive. And now you just simply put the control back in their court and say, okay, no, what would you like to do next? But make sure you say you were simply getting excited about their wedding. You could picture it here. You were getting excited about working with them. That's the part that really makes them feel good. That's the part that makes them feel that you just really wanted to work with them. And it's not that you were being a pushy salesperson. I'm going to give you a minute because I can see people writing this down. So I'm just going to give you a few seconds to get that down. Okay, does that sound good? That get out of jail free card? Just give me a Y for yes if that feels quite comfortable and would give you more confidence to ask for the booking, knowing that you had that card to pull out afterwards if it didn't go to plan. Emma, what if they're a bridezilla? So this is an interesting question. So people who want to interview me or talk to me about my previous planning life will always ask me about bridezillas, and I genuinely didn't have bridezillas over 16 years of my career, and this is why I believe I didn't have it. I think it's the way we firmly but lovingly deal with them at the beginning, right? Bridezillas is because of an emotional outpouring. I'm out of control. I don't know what the right decision is. I don't trust anyone. I am freaking out. And when you can then help that person, I'm not saying they don't walk in as bridezillas, but we as the professionals can actually calm that and get that under control so that they feel in a safe, trusting environment. And that extinguishes that bridezilla behavior. Other people are thinking the same, Emma. And yeah, look, if this is someone you really don't want to work with, as Jess has just said, if this person is horrendous and you don't want to work with them, well, let them go. You know, they're not your ideal client, as Jess is saying. Absolutely. Sean, I love a bridezilla. I hear you, Sean. So I think you love them because you know you can turn them around. You love them at the beginning because you know you're going to win them over. And I agree with you. I feel exactly the same. When people come in prickly and difficult, I feel like, yeah, come on, exactly. You do and you can. So it's about this love and this firmness early on that you are the expert. You've got them. They are safe with you, but you're going to love them and make them feel really special and important. And actually, it's when they think they have to be in control that they start getting emotionally out of control. Okay, so let's wrap up. The sit and sell is all about the packages and pricing. That's where we talk about it. No hoop jumping. It's super easy to book with you. And we are going to encourage and ask for the booking. We're not going to be shy at the last step. Now, here's the important thing, guys. Why is this order the most effective? This is super, super important just before we close the session. Why is this order the most important? If we did, or the most effective, not the most important, the most effective. If we did the sit and sell at the beginning, or we did the sit and love in the middle or at the end, what would the result be? Why is this order the one it has to be in? It's not just because I like it. Give me some thoughts in the comments. Why is this order the one that actually drives the best results? Yep, it's a journey, absolutely. Let me ask you a different question. What if I put the sit and love at the end? And lots of people do, right? We do the sales, we do the walkthrough, we do the showing of a product, and then at the end we sit down and we bring out a glass of champagne or a cup of coffee, which I absolutely recommend you ban. Don't give coffee. Sue, you've established a trusting relationship to begin with. Yeah, remember the sit and love. We are building that emotional certainty, so they are changing the way they feel about you and your product before they see the product. If they see a carpet they don't like and you haven't done the sit and love, they will say, we're not going to book because we don't like the carpet. If you do the sit and love first, they will look at the carpet and think, oh, I don't like the carpet, but I just feel that this is our venue, so we'll find a way around it. They will find the reasons to overcome their own objections if you do the sit and love first. So don't reorder the 3-step process because you will not get the results. Sit and love at the end will not work for you. They'll think it was nice, but it won't change the way they see the product, because what we're changing is their perspective, and that has to be changed before they see the product. We also don't want to talk about pricing at the beginning because they haven't seen the product. So they need to be loved, then they need to see the product, and then they need to talk about pricing. Now, they will have seen pricing before they arrive, right? This isn't going to be a shock, but the actual conversation happens here. All right, so our 3-step method: sit and love, walk and talk, sit and sell. The most important is sit and love. If you don't have time to do anything else in preparation for proposal season, please think about how you can add in sit and love to any of your meetings or your venue tours. This is what will have the quickest and biggest impact for you on your conversion. So a few actions: think about where you're going to sit with your people. Think about your food and beverage offering. How can you, because not everybody has access to kitchens and snacks and things to give people. So think about that food and beverage offering and design your personalized item. How can you make it easy for you to put that personalized item in front of your couples? All right, so just hit the 1 hour mark. Any questions, guys? I would love to know your questions, but also what is the thing that landed the most for you from this session? What's the kind of one thing that's flashing in your head? You're thinking, yeah, I'm going to change this in terms of the process. Let me know in the comments. And any questions? Sean says, I wish I had a venue. Sounds such an exciting process. But imagine Sean as a planner. You're now going to go to venues and see the process very, very differently, aren't you? You're going to see what they do, and you will be able to spot a venue that's been trained by me and one that hasn't straight off the bat. Sue, personalise the visit. Emma, me too. Sean, I'll be judging them now. Exactly. Okay, so looks like we don't have any questions. I think we're all good. I know that was very venue heavy for our non-venue members, but I think there is still a lot you can take over into the other businesses as well. Carol, at what point do I mention bats? Sorry, Carol, can you just retype the question? I'm not sure I understand. Jess, ask for the booking. Yeah, absolutely, Jess. Don't be afraid to ask for the booking. Sue, start with the sit and love, definitely. Sean got a lot out of this as a planner. Perfect. I'm really pleased you did. Carol, just can you retype your question for me? I'm so sorry. I'm not 100% sure what you mean. Brilliant. So, we have bats in the... Oh, you actually did mean bats. With bats in the barn, some love them, some others don't. My gut feel, I mean, I'd have to see the situation. My gut feel would be, Sean's laughing, that not everybody does love bats, but do you need to explain it? Because actually you wouldn't want them freaking out because there would be bats later. So it might be something you need to be honest about. That might even be something you need to be honest about earlier on, if that is a big impact on the actual space. Are they out all the time? Do they not sleep during the day? We have umbrellas up under each nest. Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah, you're going to need to talk to them about that. Definitely sit and love first. Definitely show them a gorgeous product first. I would talk about any issues at the end in the sit and sell. Get them as far along that journey as possible before you have to introduce anything negative. Brilliant. Okay, guys, I will upload the recording in the members area for any replay. As usual, questions, comments, pop them in the Facebook group, and I will see you all there. All right, take care. Have a good day.